The Finance Committee to order. Note this meeting is being televised, streamed, and recorded by Bourne TV. If anyone in the audience is recording or videotaping, they need to acknowledge such at this time. Use of flash photography during Finance Committee meetings is prohibited. If anyone from the public wishes to access the meeting, they can do so by calling the following conference line, 1-929-205-6099, Zoom meeting ID 870-4430-5257, password all caps FINCOM. The Zoom chat will not be monitored. Participants who wish to speak must raise the hand icon until the chair asks them to unmute. All items within the meeting agenda are subject to deliberation and votes. Can the remote people hear us? Good, thank you. Okay, first is review and discuss all articles and motions for annual town meeting and to begin voting on them. Item A is Article 1 consent agenda. Is there any discussion about the consent agenda? Okay, we have a lot of things to do, so we could keep going. Does anyone want to make a motion to vote to recommend approval of the...
I'll make the motion.
Thanks.
I'll second.
All right.
I'm sorry, I do have a quick question on
Sure.
the revolving funds.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes. After they are, at the end of the year, if they've not consumed that amount of cash, it will go into the general fund?
No, the revolving funds always stay segregated.
Okay, so so the recreation funds program has 175,000 this year.
That's, they can spend up to.
175,
Yes.
okay. So it's not a fund per se that we put money into, it's just their spending limit.
That is their spending limit. There is money put into the revolving fund through fees and program fees. So that money automatically goes into the fund. The department, what this is voting is, we're saying the department can spend up to that amount. If they don't spend that amount, any excess goes back to the balance within that revolving fund
Okay.
for future use.
Do we have what their funds are now? I mean, do we have to put in 175 or we put up to 175?
That's the spending limit, so it's a limit.
It's a limit.
Yeah.
So is there money already in these funds?
Yes. All of these funds have monies in them.
Okay. And where would I find the amount of money in each one of the funds?
Erica
Currently.
can send.
Send
Erica
it to me?
can
Okay. I think that was one of the, was on the question. Okay.
We can send the balance
Okay,
sheets,
so there's a
so you
no
can
on
have
that.
those for your report. No
Okay,
problem.
thank you. Thank you. All right. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, questions? Okay, it'll be a roll call vote because we have it's a hybrid meeting. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes?
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you. Priscilla? Yes. And chair votes yes, so it's unanimous. Next, Article 2, operating budget. That's the one that's awaiting some numbers?
Yes, so if the committee can wait for Articles 2, 3, and 4 until next Monday, our goal is to have those motions sent to you on Friday.
Okay. yeah,
We're still working on those.
It would be best to vote them once we know the numbers. Go item E, the FY, which is Article 5, the FY25 capital budget.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Wayne,
Second.
second by Tom. Any further discussion on this capital budget or questions?
The same questions is, how much do we currently have in those funds? You have an ambulance reserve fund, a waterways, and then the free cash. And the same with the ISWM.
We can include fund balances for waterways, free cash, ambulance reserve fund, and retained earnings.
Okay.
Yes.
Retained earnings, okay.
Any further discussion on this one? Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, and chair votes yes, so it's unanimous.
That was our 5 capital budget. Okay.
Yes. Okay, item F, which is Article 6, Jackson Field bleachers. Any discussion or questions about this one?
I have a question. It doesn't say where the money is coming from. It just says to issue bonds or notes of the town therefore. So it's
This
not
is a
coming from.
borrowing.
We're borrowing.
Yes.
So we had the class last time you were here. So under which category are we borrowing
So
this
this is, you're borrowing under the levy limit here, so this is not.
Under the levy limit, okay.
Yep, so this is non-exempt debt, which means that it's not going for a ballot question.
Okay. This does not impact the tax limit, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion on Article 6? Is there a motion to?
So moved.
Second.
I
The motion's to recommend.
move to recommend.
Thank you. And second by Amanda.
Yep.
Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
I think Priscilla?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so it's unanimous. Next, item G, Article 7, low-pressure sewer grinder pump replacement.
Sorry, I have a question.
No,
Ken.
it's good, it's good. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. It says the town that such bonds or notes be paid in the first instance from the sewer enterprise fund. What does that mean?
So, this is a sewer project, and
Mm-hmm.
the enterprise fund is self-supporting.
Right?
So even though the bonds and notes will be backed by the full faith and credit of the town, we're making it clear that the intention here is that the sewer enterprise budget will pay the debt service cost of this project.
Okay, but it says in the first instance. Does that mean that the sewer enterprise fund will pay eventually, will pay the 1.863?
Yes,
So the sewer enterprise fund, so this is an enterprise
that's correct.
loan? Okay.
Yes, that is enterprise borrowing.
Again, below the levy limit.
The enterprise fund is outside the levy limit. So it's. It-
Self-funding, right? So
It
the
will
fees pay
eve-
for this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, so it's, but that's what we'll be talking about with the debt for next meeting. But, so it's not under the levy limit, and it's not
It's the enterprise
exempt.
fund.
It's enterprise
Okay,
fund.
so paid in the first instance from the sewer enterprise fund means that the sewer enterprise fund will pay for this.
Yes.
Okay,
If
all right.
something happens at some point in the future, and for some reason, the enterprise fund can't make those debt payments, then it reverts to the taxpayer, the general fund.
Right.
Has to cover that
Okay.
shortfall.
That's not the intention.
That's not the intention.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
that's why we're saying in the first instance.
First instance.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any further questions or discussion on Article 7? No, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we recommend Article 7.
Thank you. Motion by Wayne, or a second?
I'll second that
Second.
we recommend approval of
Thank
that
you.
article.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
And chair vote yes, unanimous, thank you. Next, item H, which is Article 8, about the new fire station. Are there any questions or discussion about this article?
So one of the things that we got from Erica today talks about the impact of what this will mean, right? Because we're going to have to raise our tax rate for this.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay, so I don't know, if, I guess I'm uncomfortable voting positive for this one due to the fact that it is going to raise the tax rates for everyone. So I tried to understand Erica's synopsis of it, but I couldn't understand how much people's taxes were going to have to be raised to cover this 18.8 million.
Okay, Erica, do you want to kind of talk about that for this specific project? Do you want to talk about those impacts?
I can.
Okay.
So, Article 8, this is an $18.8 million article to approve a borrowing for the Southside Fire Station. Now, this is being voted as excluded debt, which means it's raised outside of the tax levy, so it's in addition to. And this, approving this article at town meeting will move this to adding it to a ballot at the annual election. So that's what the article voting tonight will do, will allow us to borrow, but it will still be subject to a ballot vote that has to be approved. So if you want to look at the estimated excluded debt payments that I provided for excluded debt, this would be the only new item added in fiscal 27 through 30. Now, we do have some other pieces that are going to be falling off, and the amounts, as the amounts mature, the total excluded debt is reduced. But if you look towards the bottom of the schedule, it shows the average single-family tax bill increase or decrease from the prior year. So in fiscal 27, when we bring on this new debt, we're actually gonna add $45 of additional excluded debt. Again, these are all estimates based on assumptions. In fiscal 27, we'll be adding an additional $128, because that is when we anticipate the debt becoming permanently borrowed. Again, these could be pushed out or delayed a year, and the impact could happen later. Fiscal 29, you see the $98.02, that would be the additional amount. And in fiscal 30, $90.48. And this would be based on the average single-family home, and that's the additional cost for the year. So that would be broken out by quarter for each tax bill. Does that help?
Yes, thank you, Erica, very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Any other questions or discussion about the fire station article? Is there a motion, one way or another?
I would make a motion to recommend Article 8.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thanks. Priscilla?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Unanimous. Thank you. Next, item I, Article 9, demolish and rebuild roof at the police station. Any discussion or questions about Article 9?
So, is this under the levy limit?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
So on this warrant, the only borrowing articles that are not under the levy limit are the exclusion for the fire station and the borrowing for the sewer enterprise.
Okay, thank
Yep.
you.
And this borrowing for this police station roof, rather, would just be general. And if we ever collect money from insurers or other ways, it would just go back to the general fund?
Yes, if we are able to recoup the cost through litigation, then depending on when that happens, we may not have to borrow as much to begin with, or depending on the timing of it, we may have the ability to write down that debt faster. So this one is unique because we are intending to try to recoup costs. That typically is not normally the case. So there are some timing questions about, depending on how the litigation goes, what will that actually mean with what actually gets borrowed and what actually gets permanently borrowed?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. And can you share, is that the same value we're litigating for, the 2.5 million?
So, town council is still working on the
Okay.
total amount of the claim, of the damages claim. The claim will involve things in addition to the roof, so it'll be more.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions about the police station roof? No? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we recommend Article 10.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, 9.
Nine?
9.
Right, Article 9. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion to recommend approval.
Second by Amanda. Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Ron, yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes?
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you. Priscilla?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Next, Article 10, install air conditioning in the gun range at the police station. Any question or discussion about this article? Is there a motion?
I make a motion to recommend Article 10.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
And chair votes yes, unanimous. Next one, item K, Article 11, owner's property, project manager and designer for a new library at 19 Sandwich Road.
Is that what the town, I know they had a survey for the library, so that the decision was to tear down the old one and build a new one?
Yes, yes, so there is currently a feasibility study, and that survey, along with other outreach they have done, has given the study committee clear guidance or clear direction that in some variation, in some way, the preferred option is to tear down and rebuild a library at 19 Sandwich Road.
And that's where it is now, right? 19
That's
Sandwich Road.
correct.
Okay, all right.
And there may be, they're not getting into design yet, that's for the future, but, there's still all of the details to be worked out, whether the front wall will be saved, whether it'll be a one-story library or two-story library, all of that is to be determined. This article here funds the money to allow that design to happen.
Thank you. Wayne?
And how will that impact the possibility of getting a library construction grant?
It's unknown at this time. There is a memo in your packet from the library director. If grants are available for construction, essentially we'll have to wait and see what the rules are at the time, if and when a grant is announced.
Thank you.
Yeah, they even said the fourth quarter, they might not even have payments for people who already had grants.
So those are other grants,
Not ours, right, but other people, the fourth quarter.
not building grants. So there's lots of library grants, and the cut to the federal money that could impact fourth quarter grants does not, at this point in time, does not include the library building grant program. It involves service provision grants and other equipment, other resources that are grant funded through the library. So there's a lot of different types of library grants.
So are we receiving or anticipated to receive any grant money in Q4? Is that what the reference is to, that she was made?
No, we're not.
We're not, okay, so there's no impact to us for that.
Right.
Okay.
Right now, we don't think that there's going to be any impact to us
Okay.
in the fourth quarter.
Tom?
So are we confident we'll get the money? Is that what you're saying? Eventually? So what's the possibility?
Completely unknown.
Okay, will the building be torn down before it's determined if we get the money?
I can't answer that. These library grants do not necessarily run on a regular schedule. So this article keeps the design process moving forward. And it's $150,000 of free cash. So obviously, any committee would have to come back to the town meeting for additional funds at the time of construction. And, this entire conversation can be had again at that time with what we know then. But at this point in time, we don't know if or when another round would be announced.
Any further discussion, questions? Oh,
I have a question.
oh, yeah, Priscilla?
Yeah, so, I'm trying to figure out, 150K covers how far into the design and what kind of, cost estimate would you get out of that phase?
So-
How much error? Is it a ROM or is it, 15 down, 45 up? You know what I mean?
So this would essentially bring the design to a schematic phase. It would certainly not be final, it would not be construction documents and bidding. So it would advance the design somewhat, but it would still be a preliminary design. It would be a schematic level moving into design development.
And, again, would there be any cost estimate associated with that? Like a ROM or?
I can't,
I thought designers had to provide, a cost estimate with any design, regardless of what stage it's at.
so at this point, the scope has not been written and put out for designer selection for the architect. The scope will probably include cost estimates, and they will be at the schematic design stage.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to recommend
Thank you.
Article 11.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Second by Tom. Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
No.
Okay, Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
I abstain.
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you, and the chair votes yes. Okay, next item, Article 12, owner's project manager for solar panel removal from Bourne Middle School roof. Any question or discussion about that? Article 12?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 12.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Did you ask for a discussion or, I can't bring everything up. I didn't have time to print. What is the cost for that? Put out?
50,000. 50,000.
Oh, okay. I say yes then.
Thank you. And Dan?
Yes.
Thank you. Chair votes yes, so that's unanimous. Next, Article 13, reports and recommendations from committees. Any discussion on that article?
Is anybody planning on giving one at the meeting?
I haven't heard definitively yet. I would assume since the ISWIM building project has come off the warrant, that the building committee will probably make a report.
The building committee will. Okay, good.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions?
Just for conversation. I'm assuming that Fire Station Building Committee will not make a report because there's going to be a full presentation.
Right, so all the comments should be made as part of the article.
Any further discussion? None? Okay. Anyone want to make a motion?
I'll move to recommend.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes,
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll vote yes. Unanimous. All right, next. Article 14, the Keene House Survey. Amount of $14,500. Any question or discussion about that? Okay, looks like none. Does anyone like a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 14.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
No.
Priscilla?
yes,
Dan?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Next, Article 15, Community Preservation Committee, Affordable Housing Purposes for $98,000. Any discussion about that one?
I personally found when she did the presentation that she was very unclear and was really not definitive on what the amount was for. She mentioned paperwork, postage, and somebody who comes and looks at stuff and then comes back and looks at stuff.
So I think we have someone from, with Sue Ross from Housing. Hi, Sue, do you have any additional information about where the money would go for the Article 15?
okay, sorry. As I said before, it's very hard to pinpoint everything that we do because we do all affordable housing work for the town. For example, we were just given the opportunity to maybe find affordable housing for the police station. We didn't know before we went into this year that that might happen. So now we have to, so we can't budget it when things like this happen. And every year things like this happen, only in a different way, a different scale. But for example, we've already had to hire a consultant to come and look at the police station. Then we have to have it written up. Then we might have to get a grant writer for a grant. And so I know you thought I was being vague. If you got to look at the application, it has everything on it that we would use it for. But it's really hard to pin down exactly what we're going to do because, to be honest with you, from one year to the next, we don't know what we're going to be doing. We don't know if we're going to have to conduct lotteries. It depends on who's building and when they're building, and we're just sort of called in to do this. The thing about putting it in this in this way, if at the end of the year we haven't used the money, it has to go back into affordable housing. It's not like we can keep the money and keep the money and keep the money. We can only use it for all the things that we have asked for. But I apologize that I can't write down everything that we're going to do because we don't know what we're going to do. I know it sounds awful, but you know, we provide a lot of things for the town in program designs, day-to-day staff support, consulting reports, all kinds of lotteries, bookkeeping, keeping the state informed with what we're doing. We pay for monitoring that comes out. I don't know what, can I answer any questions? I know it doesn't sound specific.
So I have a question on the mechanics. I don't know if this is for Erica or for you, Sue, but when that money is spent, do you submit an invoice and they reimburse you, or do we just give you 98,000 and you?
No. No, there's a big procedure. If we, first of all, if, for example, our consultant, we would have to, he would write up the scope of work, he would submit a bill, it would go to Jen, the planner, and then Erica would approve it before we could have it paid. And it would come out of a certain number that's on Erica's budget. So we don't just write checks, we have to write them through the town. We don't hold the money, the town holds the money and only gives it to us if it's something that's within the scope of this request.
Okay.
If we have, excuse me, if we have any kind of contract or anything like that, it goes to the town administrator and she looks it over for us and okays it, and usually has to sign it also, plus I sign it.
Okay, so there is a level of oversight there and ensuring compliance with the article and its intention.
Yes, there are at least 3 steps before anybody can get paid.
Okay. And I know it sounds like you're struggling to articulate because there are unknowns what it will be spent on, but I would think there could be, in these presentations or at town meeting, a report back of what the money was spent on in the prior year.
Oh, well, that's probably a great idea. I never thought of doing it that way. But thank you, I will. But I apologize that we never know, but you're right, maybe if I just did the year before, we're given an idea of how we might go forward.
I think it just highlights some of the work you've done, and you've cited there are some unknowns which are understandable, but that way you have some concrete facts behind what it's been spent on to sort of show the justification for it.
Correct, thank you, thanks, I will do that.
You're welcome.
Okay, any further discussion on Article 15?
Just one quick question. So this is the CPC funds, and that's why it's not a revolving fund?
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
Well, there are some CPA funds that we can hold on to if it's for a specific project, but this is one that it's for a certain year, and at the end of the year, we haven't used it, we have to return it to the CPA for affordable housing.
So do you know how much this particular item was last year? Was it about the same?
It was 105 last year, I believe.
Okay.
Thank you. Any further questions?
So would it be fair to say that this program is developed to meet unanticipated needs within the community?
Yes, I mean, it's well, the monitoring part we anticipate, and we do a contract with HAC for that, and it depends on what they charge us, but it's always between 15, 17, it just depends if we add homes during the year, it'll go up. Well, we haven't lost any homes, thank goodness, but, and so, yeah, everything, changes, but we anticipate certain things, and we do a good job of anticipating. We never want to be run short because it's somebody's home that might be at jeopardy if we, sometimes we have to run in and buy a house just to keep it affordable. So, we would need, this money wouldn't cover it obviously, but we would have to take some of our money and use some of the things for appraisals, for selling, so yeah, it's, we never know.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions on Article 15? No? Any motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 15 for the affordable housing.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes?
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for being here, Sue. Next, Article 16. That's $225,000 for the rehabilitation of housing units off Waterhouse Road. Any question or discussion about that article?
I have a couple of questions. Was that, shown to us? I mean, were there specifics on that? Any breakout of cost and?
I can't really speak to that. I will say something if it's okay with the chairperson.
Yes, certainly.
This is the Bourne Housing Authority, which is different, but we usually talk to, well, she's on one of our committees, and we talk about what is going on, just because we're both in the same thing, and we share trying to go for CPA money. For the past few years, that in order to preserve the affordable housing that they run, they've done the handicapped housing off of Waterhouse Road, and now are finishing the duplexes on Waterhouse Road. And this is for the last two, I believe. She said the last two family buildings on Waterhouse Road, and they've completed the first 5. And what they are replacing is the siding, the trim, the shingles, and the doors. And then they've added new steps to enter each building. So I don't have her package in front of me that you might, where she has it more written down, but that's what it's for. So this will be the last buildings that they have to do the envelope. They call it doing the envelope, and to preserve the homes and keep them healthy, and to keep them looking well. And the tenants are, she wrote on the letter to me that the tenants were so pleased with how their homes looked. So, but I don't have the specifics, and I think she did put it on her application.
Okay, quick question too is this part of the house doctor program, the state's house doctor, where I think the design is basically subsidized?
Well, these houses are all built in about, I don't know how old they are, maybe 20 years old or more. So it's all new. I mean, it's older homes, not old homes, but older homes. So that was,
Okay.
but I don't think it's the house doctor, because she's never been able to get the state or to pitch in. So that's why she has used CPA funds.
Okay, and this is 5 homes?
5 homes have been done, and these are the last 2.
Last 2 for,
Yes.
what's the total, sorry, that you're asking, 250,000?
250,000, I believe she's asking.
225,000.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it involves doors, probably some windows,
Doors, siding,
siding.
trim, shingles, and the new steps to enter the buildings.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any more questions or discussion on Article 16? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we approve Article 16.
Okay, is there a second?
I second that we recommend approval.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes?
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Oh, we lost Dan.
Oh, Priscilla?
I'm gonna abstain on that.
Okay. Oh, hi, Dan, are you there?
Sorry, no, but it froze up on me. Yes, I'm a yes.
Thank you. Okay, so it passes
Chair?
6 to 1.
Chair, you're a yes also?
Yes, I apologize, yes. Okay, next, Article 17, CPC Committee. improvement of Chester Park Recreation Area, the amount of $1,300,000 for the renovation improvement of the park. Any further discussion on this article?
I'm going to abstain from this one. Just, it's right in front of my house. I just don't think it's appropriate.
Okay, that's up to you. I don't think you would really be required to do that, but we respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, any further discussion on this? No? Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we recommend Article 17.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Priscilla?
I have to abstain, I don't know enough about it.
Okay. Dan?
Yes.
And Carla?
Abstained.
And the chair votes yes. Next, Article 18, CPC article for the Jason Camaletti Memorial Basketball Court, $400,000. Is there any discussion or questions about this one?
I do have a question. That the fund, for a couple of these, they say that the funds could available or from the 2026 estimated CPA funds. Does that mean that we don't have enough CPA funds to pay for these right now?
No. So we always put that language in the article for flexibility, but the motion, so if you look at the motion, the motion is for all of these is to transfer from reserves.
Okay, from the current
Reserves, yes.
Okay, so for the, I know the 1.3 million won't be till 2026.
So the 1.3 million for Article 17 is to transfer, that one is split from the open space and recreation reserves and from the undesignated reserves. So all of that money is currently on hand with the town.
Okay.
None of these CPA articles are using anticipated.
Anticipate, so everything comes from current cash.
Yes.
Okay. And how does that work if we approve this 400,000, but they don't start breaking ground until I guess it'd be 2027? Is it get set aside? From
Yes.
this, so it gets deducted from what is available from the CPA funds?
That's
It's
correct.
earmarked for future, and we don't double spend it?
That's
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Thank you. Any more discussion or questions about Article 18? Amanda?
I do. Does anyone remember if they were leaving those courts in place? I remember, was it a year or two ago? They came forward and wanted to do reconstruction back here. It was like a multi-million-dollar project. I don't remember if they were leaving those in place or if they anticipated moving them. We obviously don't want to spend all this money and design back there.
These courts would remain. Katie, can you just confirm they're being rebuilt in place, right? And that's their permanent location.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions, discussion? No? Anyone like to make a motion?
I will make a motion to recommend Article 18.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second his motion to recommend approval.
Thank you. Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes,
It's Dan?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you. Next, Article 18 for final engineering and construction administration for Phase 1 of the Bourne Rail Trail, amount of $250,000.
Article 19.
Article 19.
Oh, I'm sorry.
19, yeah.
Right, Article 19. Any question or discussion about Article 19? Would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 19.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
no,
And Dan?
No.
And the chair votes yes. Next, Article 20. This is a CPC for administrative operating expenses, $75,000. Any questions or discussion about this article?
Is that a yearly figure that they, that they?
For this year at least, right?
Yes, this is an article that appears on the warrant annually.
Thank you.
And I believe it's been consistently funded at this amount.
Thank you.
I think Barry is on the phone though, so I'll certainly be corrected if he wants to correct me.
I would like to add, Marlene, if that's okay. This does close out at the end of the year for anything that's unspent. So it has been $75,000 for the last few years. And I believe the law says that you can go up to 5% of the anticipated revenues, and that's closer to $90,000, so they haven't gone up to the max. And again, anything unspent will be returned to the fund.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, are you there?
Yes.
Hi.
Everything that Marlene and Erica said is correct.
Thank you. Any additional questions or discussion about this one? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 19.
I'll second.
No, I'm sorry, 20.
Yes, right.
Sorry.
A motion and second for Article 20. Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you. Chair votes yes. Thank you. Next, Article 21, and that's a CPC item. For $1,881,457.54 for several items. They're here in a table. Does anyone have any questions about or discussion about this item?
Is this just a shuffling of cash within the CPA funds so that it's better balanced between the three different areas? Or are we spending, doesn't look like we're spending the money, just looks like we're moving them around.
So this is not, you're right, there's no spending here. This is the anticipated revenue for next fiscal year, and
Okay.
taking it and putting it in the categories, putting it in the reserve categories. So it can be spent in the future
Okay.
out of those reserves.
This is FY '26 anticipated revenue.
That's
Okay.
right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions about Article 21?
Jim?
Yes, Wayne?
When they separate these funds, Marlene, does each area have a designated percentage that they get?
So I believe it's 70% to open space, 10% to housing, and 10% to historic.
Thank you.
I don't think that adds up.
It doesn't add up to 100, but
And then there's the and then the remaining 10% is to undesignated.
your brain gets stuck like
But-
mine.
It didn't work.
But the three areas are the three that have to be reserved in a certain way. Any further questions? I will defer to Barry. This is not my article.
Are there any further
Right here.
questions or discussion on this one? Article 21? Looks like none. Would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion to recommend Article 21.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second his motion to recommend approval.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Chair votes yes.
Yes. Okay, next, Article 22, Stabilization Fund, to see if the town will appropriate the sum of $200,000 from free cash into our stabilization fund. Any discussion or questions about this article?
It's a pretty round number. Is it to bring us up to a certain amount, or is this?
Yeah, so we, by policy, we try to have a minimum of 6% of the general fund operating budget in here. The fund, and by adding the 200,000, we feel that we'll maintain that minimum.
Okay.
The fund is invested, so there's volatility and it does shift a little bit. But we think that, I don't know, barring, by the end of the fiscal year, hopefully we'll have, barring a catastrophe in the stock market or in our investments, we'll meet that floor. I can tell you the fund balance for this one.
All right.
So as of March 31st, again, it is invested, so there is some variability here. So as of March 31st, the current balance is $5,324,402.99.
Thank you.
Thanks. Any additional questions or discussion about Article 22?
I'll make a motion to recommend Article 22.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you, and the chair votes yes. Next, Article 23, to transfer from available funds, which should be from free cash, to capital stabilization fund, $288,000. Any further discussion about this one?
So Carla, if you want, I can also give you the fund balance for this one tonight.
Sure. Can fill my table out.
And the goal here is to maintain 3 to 5 years of debt payments in capital stabilization. And as of March 31st, the balance is $1,742,424.53.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any question, discussion about the capital stabilization fund?
I'll make a motion to approve Article 23.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Thanks, Dan.
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you. Next, 24, to transfer from future solid ice swim stabilization fund to OPEB trust fund, the amount of $585,302.14.
Does that close out the future solid waste stabilization fund?
For all intents and purposes, yes. There could be, there could be interest earned between now and then, where there would be a small residual would fall back, to that fund. But we're not closing the fund, we're just moving the money. So if there is investment income that falls back to it, there would be a place for it to go.
Okay, so the aim is to empty the fund, but not close it.
Yes.
Eventually, we'll need it again.
Is this fund just part of the money that's set aside to close the whole ice swim altogether in 20
No.
years or so?
No,
Okay.
this has nothing to do with post-closure. All of the post-closure requirements, all of those funding requirements are within the ISWIM enterprise fund, and they are all fully funded.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve Article 20, to recommend Article 24.
Got it. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on Article 24? Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And chair vote yes. Thank you. Okay, Article 25. This is money for the Human Services Grant Program, $40,000 from free cash. Any question or discussion about Article 25?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of Article 25.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. Thank you. Okay, Article 26. This one's, it's for smaller capital items that don't qualify. What's the cutoff now, 30,000?
25,000. So one-time purchases that don't meet the capital definition.
And to appropriate this would be $50,000 from free cash. Any further discussion or questions about Article 26?
Just the oversight piece, if somebody has something that they want to be within this fund, does it go through Erica to get paid?
Yes, so a request would need to be made to the town administrator, and then depending on whether, for procurement reasons, and then depending on if 3 quotes are necessary, or just better business practices if it's very small, we would handle the procurement piece, and then we can allow the purchase, and then Erica, once the purchase is approved and made, Erica's office would check that it was purchased correctly. It would go through our normal process of paying invoices.
And what happens if it goes over $50,000? If the accumulation of all these individual items goes above $50,000?
We would have to, we wouldn't be able to fund whatever one pushed it over $50,000.
Okay, all right.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions about Article 26?
I make a motion to recommend approval of Article 26.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thank you, and chair votes yes. Next, Article 27. That's money for the 2025 updates to the ortho imagery and planimetrics data set for the amount of $17,133 from free cash. Any discussion or questions about Article 27?
Yes. Could you remind me what this does? What's this for exactly?
Tim, do you want to remind us about the, what these things are?
Sure. So this is a GIS-based program that the Cape Cod Commission kind of helps us with. They fly a mission all throughout Cape Cod and get data based on the imagery, and they can kind of create shape files based on specific codes. So like they can get all the sidewalks on one shape file, all the hydrants, all the light poles, all the trees, individual trees on the streets. So it kind of compiles a lot of updated data from a data set that we actually did in 2019. And it's been very useful for us for planning purposes and then also for map making. But it's really attractive for us because it would probably cost us double if we were to do this work on our own individually as a town. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions about this one?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval
Thank you.
of Article 27.
I'll second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you. Next, Article 28. This one is to see whether the funds held in the custody of the town invested under the standards of the Massachusetts Prudent Investor Act doesn't involve spending any money. Any discussion about this article?
How is it invested now?
It's not prudent.
It's not prudent? I'm like kind of curious.
Erica, can you talk about how you're imprudently?
Well, technically, we're actually already using a loophole to follow the Prudent Investor Act. So this will just put it on the books and make it official.
Okay.
So
You
it
are being
allows-
prudent, that's good.
So this just allows us to do it within the act, and it allows us to invest accordingly in specific, legal list stocks and bonds and other types of assets.
Thank you. Any more questions or discussion about this one?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of Article 28.
Thank you.
I will second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
I'm gonna abstain from that one.
Thank you. Dan?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Next, Article 29.
I don't remember discussing these. I'm sorry if I missed it, but what is the, it's a HEROES Act, so I'm assuming it's our firefighters, policemen,
It actually has to do with veteran status.
okay?
And I'll let Erica speak to these next two articles go together, and it has to do with the exemptions from the property taxes that are available to veterans.
Okay.
Okay, Erica?
Oh.
I was on mute. Okay, so the first one has to do with an increase in the annual exemptions annually for the consumer price index. So if we're giving a fixed amount now, this will allow it to adjust with that annually. And that's Article 29. And then Article 30 is doubling the exemptions. So there are two exemptions, and it'll go from 400 to 800. And I have a memo that I will share with you from the assessor that outlines the specific amounts and the effect on our base.
Thank you. So this exemption's from property tax?
Exactly, from real estate taxes specifically for veterans.
And which does not necessarily go up by the CPI, right? It goes up, well, it depends on each person's house, right?
Right, it depends on the valuation.
Does this mean it goes up the rate for that person per $1,000 of their house, or the total amount for the person?
It'll be just the amount of the exemption that increases. And there are rules that, it can't be more than the prior exemption. There are some things built into it so that there isn't an unfair advantage or that there's a negative tax bill. I don't think that would be the case, but there are some things baked into this law to avoid that.
Okay. All right, any questions, discussion about Article 29?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of Article 29.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second, but I have to abstain from these.
Okay, second by Amanda. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Abstain.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Abstain.
Dan?
Yes.
And the chair will vote yes.
Are you a veteran, Amanda?
My husband is.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you.
And next, the related one, Article 30, which will allow us to increase the exemption.
Yes.
Any question, discussion about that one?
If we could get some clarification, we see a 100% exemption. Is that a 100% exemption from real estate tax?
Oh, Erica, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. The exemption will double from $400 to $800, so it's not 100% exemption of the entire property tax bill.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions about Article 30?
If both of them pass, Erica, what happens then?
If they pass,
Yeah, both of them pass, because one has to do with the CPI and one has to do with increasing the deductible by, or I guess by 80,
Right.
by 100%.
so it'll increase the amount of exemptions we issue, and that will be adjusted for through our overlay balances.
So it's a one-time 100% increase, and then it would go up after that based on the CPI?
Annually, based on the CPI, correct.
And how many people are enrolled in town in the program now?
I don't have that information in front of you. I might by the end of this meeting. And I will get that for you.
Thank you. Do you want to defer vote on it till we get that information? No? So, you want to make a motion one way or another here?
I can do either way. Why don't we defer it and just have an answer to it?
Okay. All right, next, Article 31, Downtown Sign Bylaw. Any question, discussion about this downtown sign bylaw?
I'll move to recommend Article 32. I'm sorry, 31.
Thank you. Any, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Amanda, thank you. Any further discussion on the downtown sign bylaw? No, is there a motion? Wait.
I made the motion.
Make your motion, second, no further discussion, okay, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Getting kind of repetitive. Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes,
Carla?
Yes?
Dan?
I have to abstain.
Thank you. And I vote yes. Next, Article 32, the citizen initiative for a nitrogen bylaw. That's changed since we first heard about it, where now it's just a petition to have the legislature more or less allow us to have a bylaw at some future time, right?
That's correct. So, I emailed earlier today town council's motion, which has been accepted by the petitioner. And what this article, or what this motion at this point would do is authorize the select board to petition the general court to create, at some point in the future, the actual bylaw. So this bylaw would not be created at this time. If the motion passed, the select board would just be authorized to move the special legislation. If the special legislation is successful, then at some point in the future, the town could choose to enact a bylaw which would need a separate town meeting vote.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, conversation, discussion?
Do we want a motion, or do we want to open it to, do you want the discussion now or later?
All right, we guys have a motion and then second and we discuss it. Or is there a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion to not recommend it.
All right, is there a second on this motion not to recommend it?
I'll second that.
Okay, for discussion purposes.
Okay.
Okay, so here's my problem with this particular motion. I think the resident who came in made a nice presentation, and he was very upfront about it. It was intended to be an educational bylaw to educate the public about what could be done to help water quality. Great ideal. Then we found out that there is a separate bylaw that if there is no fine attached to it, it automatically becomes a civil violation or whatever. So my feeling is that, first of all, bylaws are not intended to be educational. They're intended to regulate some form of action within the community. I think it's the wrong venue to do it. By all means, if at some point the Board of Selectmen, want to make a bylaw, then by all means, we approach it as a bylaw. I just think it's the wrong venue for us to use for an educational process in the town government.
Any further discussion on this motion, which is to not recommend approval?
I'm not sure if this is the right time or not, but I will repeat what I said last time, is that I think if the town is going to recommend not using something, the town should provide alternatives to that something, whatever that may be. That's my only comment.
All right, just keep in mind that this proposed article would only direct the select board to petition the general court or the legislature to enable us to do something else, which could have more details. Priscilla, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I found that the hand is not recognized, so I just kind of butt in. But anyway, yeah, I think that the intent of this is good, because I think it's good to start normalizing this nitrogen overload in our environment. I don't have any thoughts or have enough knowledge about how that can happen. Like, what are all the possibilities? But I do think it's good to start normalizing this. Over.
Any additional discussion about this one? Okay, so roll call vote. So this vote would be to not recommend approval, okay? So a no means you would like it to be recommended positively.
Correct.
Okay.
And a yes vote means do not recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. You could say what you want if you want to clarify, but, so Tom,
I think I should say no.
no to this motion?
Yes.
So,
Is that, did I misunderstand?
let me just clarify, if we vote down this motion not to do it, then do we have to do another motion?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's a no, one no. Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
No.
Carla?
No.
Priscilla?
No,
Dan?
Yes.
And the chair votes no, so it didn't carry, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Would someone else like to make a different motion?
I'll motion to recommend approval of the article.
Okay, there's a motion to recommend approval. Is there a second?
For this, I'm sorry to interrupt. For this particular one, the motion, because the motion is different than the article, so if you could please move to recommend approval of the motion.
Okay. So I move to recommend approval of the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second on that?
Second.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Carla. Okay, this time, the vote yes is to recommend approval of this motion to town meeting. All right, Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
No.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
yes,
Dan?
No.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you.
And we can circle back to
To-
Article 30 if you
Yeah.
want. And I do have a memo that I'll send out afterwards, but Erica can kind of provide some more.
Yeah, the question was how many people qualify for this exemption?
So there are two exemptions, there's 22J, there's 101, based on current information, 181 applicants receiving the $400 exemption. And then 22J is a $1,000 exemption, and we currently have 72 applicants. So between each exemption and the CPI, we anticipate this to increase. The total increase is estimated to be $152,000.
Annually.
annually.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more question, discussion about Article 30? Is there a motion? Okay, I'll make a motion to recommend that we recommend approval of this article.
Second.
Second by Tom, okay. All right, any further discussion? Roll call vote, Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Abstain?
Priscilla?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And a chair vote, yes. So that's it for
That's
now we're on the special town meeting.
correct.
It's not quite right in the agenda, but, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, so we're almost through. For the special town meeting, Article 1, the supplemental budget dealing with a comprehensive wastewater permit, right?
We don't have a dollar amount for this one yet, so I'd recommend you hold on this one until next week.
Okay. Next is, to see if the town will reduce the Buzzards Bay wastewater treatment plan fund deficit by the amount of $74,497.25 from the sale of bonds account? Is that,
Yes, from the premium from sales,
okay,
premium from sale of bonds account.
thank you. Any discussion or questions about this item?
Yes.
Go ahead.
How much is the deficit and why do we have a deficit?
So, I'm gonna try to answer this question, and Erica can jump in if I miss something. So, let me put it this way. There's a deficit in the fund because the article, this was a capital article, so there's a deficit in the article because the town received approval of an SRF loan, and it turned out that some of the costs that we submitted for reimbursement were not eligible for that loan. So there was $154,148 that was not eligible for that SRF loan. There was an available balance in the town money in the article of $79,550.74. So when you subtract that from the ineligible costs, that leaves the article in the red by $74,497.25. So it had to do with the reimbursement from the SRF loan.
Gotcha, thank you.
That was that's what caused the difference, and we didn't know that until the very end of the project, and we were going through closeout and submitting all the final documents to SRF.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion or questions on this article? Number 2.
Does that mean it's all paid off then? Whatever we had borrowed? The SRF loan is all paid off?
The SRF loan is scheduled in the sewer enterprise budget for repayment over time.
Okay, all right.
I forget the total amount of the loan. It was a couple $1 million, but there was a small amount that we were not able to use the loan for.
Any further discussion, questions?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
The chair vote yes. Thank you. Okay, next, Article 3 for the special town meeting, which is $95,000 to fund a new chiller at the Bourne Middle School, to the amount to come from free cash. Any further discussion on that one? Would anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval.
I'll second.
Okay, second by Amanda. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yep.
Sorry. Carla?
Yes?
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thanks, and chair votes yes.
Did Wayne vote yes?
Did I skip you? Sorry, Wayne?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous, thank you. All right, next, Article 4. That's shared cost sector of FY '25 operating budget. Any
Sorry,
questions?
yeah, this one I didn't understand at all.
So this is additional money that we're putting into the current fiscal year budget for group health insurance,
Group health insurance.
and it,
Oh,
which is
okay.
in the shared cost area.
Okay.
And this has to do primarily with two reasons. One, we're catching up the retirees on the MedX and the Medicare RX plans because of a change in law that changed the out-of-pocket costs, which shifted costs from the individual to the plan.
Okay.
And then the second reason for this increase is that we assume active employees will take health insurance at an individual plan or a family plan at a certain, at a certain rate, And this current fiscal year, we have had many more active employees choose to elect the family plan. So that is causing, us to need to supplement this budget as well, because those are more expensive than the individual plans.
Okay. So we're taking 500,000 from free cash and moving it into shared costs.
Yes,
Okay, all right. And that will show up as an additional 500,000 in the FY '25 budget?
that's correct. That's
Thank
correct. The supplemental budgets on the special town meeting warrant are funding things that have happened since last town meeting in the current fiscal year.
All right, so we're under budgeted for healthcare. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on Article 4?
I make a motion to recommend approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Amanda. Roll call vote, Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Okay, and one more here, which is Article 5, transfer of opioid settlement funds. That's to transfer $143,423, $143,423.82 from the opioid settlement fund, general article, to opioid settlement fund receipts, special revenue fund. What's the distinction between the first fund and the second fund there?
So, the first one is an article. The money is in an article, and that was funded at the May 2023 town meeting. After that town meeting, after the town put that money in the article, the state changed the law to create the special revenue, the special receipt fund, which is how it should work. But at the time, towns were receiving this money, but the state hadn't created the structure where it could go into the special revenue fund. So it was going into free cash, and we had to segregate it out of free cash. But now that the state has created the proper framework, we recommend, and the auditors recommend, that we move the money out of the article and into the special revenue fund.
Thank you. And how would money come out of that fund, the new fund, to be actually dispersed?
So Erica, correct me if I'm wrong here, but this one is not a receipt reserved for appropriation, right?
Correct. Once it goes into the special revenue fund, it can be spent without appropriation. So part of the reporting, the new reporting requirements are moving it out of that general fund article to the special revenue fund, so we can spend the funds without appropriation.
So that means it doesn't need to go back to town meeting. It can be spent at the direction of the town administrator through the regular procurement and payment processes of the town. The town is currently in the process of doing a needs assessment, which will hopefully identify how this money should best be used to serve the needs of or meet the needs of the town of Bourne. And then programs and initiatives that align with that needs assessment can then be funded without having to wait for a town meeting.
Thank you. And more money could go in there depending on what happens with the legal world?
Yeah, so every year the town receives regular payments of these settlement funds. And from this point forward, everything goes, from the beginning, goes straight into the special revenue fund.
Thanks. Okay, any more questions or discussion about this item?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval.
I'll second.
Thank you. Roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla? Dan?
Yes.
Thanks. So Amanda requested to revote Article 29.
I think I gave the second on that. Did I call her?
You gave an abstention.
Did you?
Oh, did I think I gave the second for the motion.
No, oh, did you? I'm sorry, I wasn't keeping track of those,
I
sorry.
think so, and I don't think I should have.
Does a person have to
You
abstain
did.
from making a
I
motion or
thought
just
that
from
was-
voting?
Yeah.
You can move for discussion purposes. You can move, excuse me, you can second for discussion purposes.
Okay, so that's, okay, then that's fine.
Okay,
Then we don't have to read it.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I think you and Wayne did everything except the nitrogen one where we kind of switched it around.
Sometimes, Tom. Okay, great. So, thank you. So review any budget adjustments for the FY '26 operating budget?
So I don't have any for you tonight. I do have 4 union contracts that I'll be discussing with the select board tomorrow, which is why I'm holding off on, or which is why we are holding off on preparing the motions for the operating budget and the enterprise fund budgets. So after I know what happens tomorrow, if then we can make the changes to take those salary dollars out of the salary reserve where they're being held right now and start applying them to some of the department budgets. So it's possible that on Friday, I'll be able to send another set of budget updates along with those motions, and we can go over them next week.
Thank you. Okay, next, for education, review debt scenarios, general fund excluded debt.
I'll let Erica take this one.
Thanks, Erica.
You're welcome. So you should have received today a memo regarding general fund excluded debt. So I'm just gonna kind of take you through the memo and then I'll take you through the calculations, and if there's any questions you have along the way, or if you want me to talk about it a different way, please don't hesitate to let me know. So in fiscal '25, it should be noted that we appropriated $5,933,575 in debt service costs. Of that, 65.4% of them were related specifically to excluded debt. And then the other portion was related to general debt, which we talked about last week, and a small portion of that is related to funded debt. Now, funded debt is debt that's appropriated in the general fund, but it's also a revenue source from other funds. So that's our debt in connection with the Community Preservation Fund. And we also have some from old septic loan program. So
So it's not enterprise? No, it's not enterprise, it's some,
it's not enterprise.
okay.
Because if it was enterprise funds, that would be appropriated in the enterprise fund budget.
Okay.
So no enterprise fund debt is in the general fund.
Okay.
And the excluded debt refers to specific debt obligations that are not included in the town's calculations of its general debt limits. So we're allowed to authorize debt up to 5% of the town's EQV, equalized values. And the amount of the exclusion is raised in addition to the tax levy limit. So it's typically associated with a certain capital expenditure or for long-term borrowing projects. The town currently has 4 existing excluded debt items that were voted. The elementary school, which is set to mature in fiscal 32. The public works facility, that will mature in 39. So will the intermediate school, and the police station, which is set to mature in fiscal 40. Now, the excluded debt adds to the tax bill in addition to what's raised in the regular Prop 2.5 levy. So in fiscal 25, the average single-family home was valued at $753,988, which if you multiply, that by our tax rate per thousand, that would be a bill of $5,889. Of that bill, just under $362 is related to these projects that we voted. So had we not voted these projects, had we not excluded this debt, the bill would be less $362. Any questions there? Okay, so as we talked about a little bit earlier tonight at the upcoming town meeting, there is an article to vote to exclude $18.8 million of excluded debt to construct the fire station. So I provided an estimated payment schedule for the next 5 years that would show what adding this debt service to our excluded debt would look like. And then I've also included a copy of the tax rate impact calculator and a copy of the debt service calculator for the $18.8 million. If you want to look at the estimated debt payments, you'll see all the existing debt, and then you'll see a portion for current payments or anticipated future payments. So there is still a portion of the Peoples or the intermediate school that we didn't permanently borrow. So generally, once we finish a project, we do permanently borrow. In this case, the timing of when it was completed didn't make sense to go out for a full bond. So we haven't done that yet. But what we are required to do is, we renew the bonds annually, but we are required after 2 years to start making payments of the principal. So we have done that, and we will continue to do that. And then depending on the timing of these other projects, we could, include this in a future long-term borrowing. And then the next section shows you what the cost for the Southside Fire Station could look like. And then you get a total estimated excluded debt per fiscal year. And then if you look at the next section, that's where it's showing you the impact on the tax bill. So as I mentioned earlier, currently $362 of that tax bill is related to excluded debt. And then as you move out the years, you can see how that number fluctuates. And it will increase with the new stuff coming on. We see a small decrease in fiscal 26 because of the timing of some projects falling off. And I'm happy to take any questions from there.
Thank you, that was great. Is the rate that we pay on those bands greater than it would be on the longer-term debt?
It can be a little bit, we tend to get premiums that do reduce them. But the net interest cost on a long-term debt is generally, in a perfect world, that's usually smaller because we have the premium, we're spreading out those costs to issue the debt over those years. But, you know, when we go out to borrow for a bond, it does cost extra money just because we do have to go through the full bond rating with S&T and those, so it doesn't make sense to incur those costs for smaller items.
Okay.
And the excluded debt, I mean, that's a really long payment term. Do we have a set interest rate? Or does it fluctuate?
Not until we actually go to market and borrow. So currently, our advisors are saying around 4.25%. If we back this up a couple of years, when we actually initiated these bands, it was almost like free money to borrow. The rates were less than 1%. So in the last couple of years, those have trickled up.
Mm-hmm.
So until we permanently borrow, or even until we do the short-term borrow and it hits the market, it's hard to say. But we are a AA+, so our rates are favorable. We do the best we can.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions? All right, we appreciate that, Erica.
Thank you, Erica, that's great.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Next, correspondence. Do you have any this time?
The only thing that I included was a memo from the library director in response to Carla's question from last meeting.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, in the minutes, March 10th, now this time we have the right March 10th minutes there. We've got a chance to look at them. Anyone that can make a motion about approving the minutes of March 10th?
I'll make a motion.
Oh, okay. Priscilla made motion. Wayne second. Okay, any further discussion on the minutes of March 10th? Okay, all in favor, well, roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thanks, and a vote yes. Next, the minutes of March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. Any discussion about those? Is there a motion to approve the minutes of March 17th?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes.
Amanda?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Thanks, and I'll vote yes. So next meeting, which is really our last regular meeting of this season, is a week from today, right? And we won't have too many things to vote on, just the ones that are still lacking numbers, right?
Correct. So you'll have a couple more to vote recommendations on, and I'll also ask you to vote on essential articles. And you, next week, you can make your assignments for who's going to present or give the recommendation on town meeting floor for the different articles. So you can assign the articles to the members.
Yeah, let me know, or let us know next week if you want to present a recommendation in particular articles. So Carla won't be here, right?
That is true.
So we need everyone else to be here, and you could let me know which of any articles you'd like to discuss.
Okay.
For next Monday?
Yeah. Any further discussion?
Do we have to vote on our report? Is that required?
You can,
It's
I'm
hard to-
not sure it's required,
It's hard to
but
do that because-
you can.
We would need a meeting just for that, because it's not gonna be complete until after next week's meeting, right? At least the final
Yeah.
votes.
Yeah. If there's going, the books are not going to print until Friday. So if there's a quorum at the moderators meeting, we can post a meeting for Wednesday and you can vote the report on Wednesday if you want. I don't see that that's a
Yeah.
terrible.
I'll be at work and you may still, well, we'll see, but I don't remember voting on those reports, we'll check.
I remember one year we went through it, but, okay.
Maybe we can have a draft version by Monday.
So all the numbers will be final by Friday.
That's our goal.
Okay.
Yes. And that's our goal, to have all of the budget adjustments and motions ready for you on Friday, so you can plug them into your report.
Okay, great, thank you.
If we can't get something done by Friday, we'll definitely let you know, and we can help kind of fill that in next week.
All right.
Think you, anything else? No? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Wayne, second. A roll call vote. Tom?
Yes.
Wayne?
Yes?
Amanda?
Yes.
Priscilla?
Yes.
Sorry. Carla?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you.